All right. So Darren DPaul Wise, um, you got a new single release, Spirit Animals. Now, do you have near future an album to match on this single?
So what I was going to do is just release singles until I have enough material to create, um, either a digital or physical copy of a record. And they were kind of recorded also as pieces of music that I'm going to use for music placement.
Okay. So it's like that.
So
How's promotions going? Because it's like you're on YouTube, I think, and where else can we find your music, actually?
so the guitar stuff is not really out there like Apple Music, and I'm gonna do something like that with it. I've also talked to a label that I do some work with about releasing some singles of the guitar music, but mostly what I'm doing with the singles or of the instrumental music is I'm taking that, releasing it in a video form and then putting that music in placement for for television and film. Like
Okay.
it's used in film commercials. Like I've got music in NASCAR and Major League Baseball, the Cooking Channel, like just a lot of different advertising.
So it kind of seems like the new era, like instead of making the YouTube videos only, it's like have it on the TV, let's say.
Yeah, a lot of where the commerce and the music business has gone is into advertising. I don't think that's I don't think that a lot of people realize that's how much, music is consumed, like that somebody's paying for.
Right.
Putting music in a placement service means anybody can come along and license it and use it for their to sell their, to sell their cars or their motorcycles or their products, whatever it is.
Yeah, it's an interesting concept, and it's like let's say, you know, let's just go like music in general, and like let's say in your area in Texas is like is it blooming, in 2023?
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of bands here. There are a lot of artists here. There are a lot of people out seeing music. Live music performance here is a really, really big business. There's like, there are literally hundreds of venues to see live music in Dallas, Texas, in one city.
And this is like in every night.
You can see music here 7 nights a week, no problem. There are
Wow.
also just there's a bunch of like big concert venues also that range, in size from, stadiums to theaters that have, national and touring acts in them, multiple like every night of the week. And there's
That's
a
incredible.
lot of Dallas is there's a lot of business here in the entertainment world.
And let's say Darren, for like recording spirit animals, let's go on, the recording aspect of it.
Huh?
How much time did you put into, figuring out, the structures in the song and the feeling to it?
Well, it's funny that song actually took a little more work because I kind of decided that I don't have to put this music out at any particular rate. I can just put it out when I'm done with it.
Hmm.
So I would go into the studio and be doing whatever session I'm doing, and then I would work on this one for a little while, and then I'd walk around with it for a while. Play it in my car, the things you do to kind of follow up and listen to what you have. And as I kind of worked through it, I kept coming up with parts that I thought were better for the different sections of the song, and then I'd want to go back and change the next thing because it wasn't good enough anymore. So I just kept working on it and putting parts together, and then I, you know, I liked the flow of it and how it was working. So eventually I got to a place where I was really happy with it. But it was quite a process. Like I had the song, I just worked on it and at different times, for probably I think I had that track sitting around for like 6 months or a year, something like that, before I called it finished.
Right.
And like
And
I have a couple that are in production now. We have like several songs. There's like songs for my band and there's songs that I'm doing instrumentally that I've got in production now where it's like, you've got the bass, drums, and rhythm guitar laid down and maybe some vocals if it's a band song, and then you've got some rough ideas of what you're doing with the guitar stuff.
and speaking about guitars and amps, where do you go for
Yep.
finding them to put on it? Like, did you stay with a Gibson Les Paul?
So actually on that song, there are three guitars on that song. There is a 59 Murphy Lab Les Paul. So it's a Les Paul standard.
Okay.
And there is a um there is a there was a black Les Paul custom, like a new one. And then there is also a 58 Carina Explorer reissue.
Hmm.
So yeah, it was all Gibson stuff.
Speaking about Gibson, like, do you notice a difference with the black custom Gibson and the 1959 in
Well,
sound?
yeah, they definitely sound different because the 59 is a more aged piece of wood. It's got all the aging and distressing to it on the finish, and then the custom is it's a new guitar, and so they have a different sound. The custom has different stuff too. Like the custom's got a maple, the back of the neck is maple, and it's got an ebony board, so that gives it a different sound. And the standard is the 59 is mahogany and rosewood.
Okay. And
So
what?
they kind of create different tones there. And then the custom's got a more modern sounding pickup, and the 59's got a like lower, output vintage sounding pickup.
It's like that. What type of amps is on this track?
Mesa Boogies.
Okay, Mesa Boogies.
Yep, there's a couple of different Mesa Boogies on there, and a couple of different cabinets. And we basically just go in and work on dialing in a sound, and then we'll do some pictures or something of the settings and save that designated to that track, so we know how we know where we left all the settings for the EQ and everything.
Right.
And then there's a little bit of technology to knowing where to put the microphone and on the cabinet. And this particular studio has a digital automated mic placement holder, so it can roll it,
Okay.
into the correct position of the cabinet.
Well, that's cool. Is like taking time on a product like that, and investing, concentration, I guess it should be the word. Like, I'm gonna play this Gibson and having these amps and stuff. It makes a good product at the end.
Yeah, there are a lot of great guitars and amps out there, and I just really like these. They really work for me. When I hear this amp and this guitar together, it just reminds me of a bunch of records that I love. And it's I would consider it to be a really legit guitar tone. And
Yeah, and Darren, let's say, what's up this summer? You're gonna be playing lots of gigs and stuff for music.
yeah, we've got a few shows coming up. We're looking at a couple of tours we're talking about doing, and lots of shows.
So you keep them busy, in other words.
Definitely. Yeah, no, I'm doing pretty much, as much as we can do. It's like in the studio and writing, like I do this a lot. So I probably play guitar, 5 or 8 hours a day. Like I really play that much.
That's
So
incredible.
I'm just going from, working on little technique things, all the stuff you do as a guitar player. You're just warming up and you're playing through the stuff that you're working on, and then trying to work on a few new ideas, and just kind of little by little you work through um, songs or scales or whatever you're working on. Like I've got some events to play coming up that I'm gonna, I got a list of 20 songs yesterday that I'm supposed to play tomorrow night.
Wow.
So I'm gonna work that stuff up, and it's like there are some events related to the guitar festival coming up. They're having some parties for that, some events that they're gonna have at some venues here in Dallas. And this guitar festival coming up is like a really big deal here. Like people from all over the world travel to it. So
Good. Well, Darren, hope you have a great week and it's like that. Good luck on all your adventures you're doing with guitar. It sounds great.
thank you so much, man. I really appreciate it. And thank you for your time. I hope you have an awesome day, my friend.
Hey, thank you very much, and you take care.
All right, buddy. Take care, man. Bye bye.
Okay, bye-bye.